Ta-da! There you go. So here's that's Tay there, one of our favourite bulbs. And what we tend to do, and you can see, so we kind of layer plant them. So you can see some of the bulbs that were planted at the top of the pot, near the surface, have come into flower first, and then we would done a second layer of bulbs just underneath, where you can see they're still coming. There's a bud there. There's buds here, so that we get a nice long show of flowers from these bulbs. So. Well, welcome back to a gorgeous autumnal day here in September in the garden. The bees are all over this Alstromeria Indian Summer, and it's aptly named, isn't it? Because an Indian Summer to me talks about a day like this in September, where the sun is still out. There's still a little bit of warmth in the sun, and the garden is just given one final flourish before winter sets in here in the UK. So an Indian summer it is, and that's Alstromeria Indian Summer. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to do something that is a bit of an autumn job. Well, for me it's an autumn joy, and that's planting up some colour for next spring. Let's plant up some daffodil bulbs into pots. Okay, so here's our little selection of daffodils and narcissi. I guess the jury's out slightly as to what the difference is between a daffodil and a narcissi, but I would say that these are all part of the narcissi family, including this kind of golden trumpet, which is what we call the daffodil, is basically a golden trumpeted narcissi. So they're all narcissi, but that for me is the true daffodil. Now, as you'll notice if you've watched any of my other videos, we love to grow daffodils. We're living in Wales. This is a Welsh symbol, a Welsh national emblem, national flower, and for whatever reason over the years I've fallen in love with the huge range. There's over 25,000 different varieties of daffodil and narcissi, and I've gone on a quest to get as many of those planted up as I can. Our problem is that the garden is full, so we grow a lot of our daffodils in pots, and then we kind of leave them over the winter, and as those pots start to come into flower in the spring, as you will have seen on previous videos, we line them up in kind of key areas of the garden. Outside the kitchen window is the favourite, so that we can enjoy them through the spring. Now, not only through the spring, I've gone on a hunt this year to see how many different flowering times I can get for daffodils. This is one, as the name suggests, that flowers in January. Well, January onwards, it says here. It'll depend. A lot of these flowering times will depend upon the weather at the time, and also through the autumn. So we've got a golden trumpet there, daffodil type, for January onwards. Moving on a little bit, this one here, Spring Dawn, lovely two-tone. I love the way that those petals go to a point there, and then that kind of pale primrose yellow centre there. Again, that's January onwards. I'm expecting that to be January, February. And then, reaching over here, Avalanche is a lovely one, which has clusters of very small dainty flowers. Those flowers are probably only I would guess a few millimetres, maybe half a centimetre across, but a cluster of them together gives you an inch or two per cluster of flowers, and distinct kind of yellow against the white there. And then we've got a perfumed one there a little bit later on, then the pheasant's eye. And because I love perfumed flowers, we've gone for a mixture of dwarf perfumed daffodils and narcissi there. And another one here, Arctic Bells, which is a most unusual. It's a kind of tiny little outer ring of petals, but a huge trumpet, and that's another little dwarf one there. So these are all good for growing in pots. So I wanted to quickly show you how we plant up our daffodils in pots, and I like to layer plant. So here's the bulb. You can see last year's roots there. So that obviously goes down to the bottom, and then the pointy bit is facing up. That's a scientific term there, pointy bit. I went to college for 3 years to learn all that sort of language, and came away knowing that that's called the pointy bit. I was good in college. Okay, so I've put half the pack in there. Now I'm going to put some compost. Oh. In there, like that. I can just about see the tips, the pointy bits sticking up there, and I'm going to put the others in now. That one feels a little bit soft. I'm going to leave him to one side. There we go. So now we can put our compost on there. Don't like to press the compost down too much, so I give it a little tap down, and there we go. So that's how we do one of our kind of small to medium size pots. I need to go and get some labels now, and then we'll do a larger pot. There we go. So the label's in, and probably didn't explain that part of the reason we do this kind of layered planting is so that we can get slightly extended, slightly longer flowering time. So those bulbs that were nearer the top, I'm expecting to come through first of all, those 3 or 4, and then the others on the bottom layer will come through a week or 2 later, and that becomes more useful, more apparent when we go to a larger pot like this. Okay, so our first pot is going to give us flowers in January and February. This pot I am expecting to give us flowers and perfume in February and March. So this is a nice mix of fairly dwarf cluster flowering perfumed narcissi and daffodils. And so we're going to layer plant these now in this pot. We've got the first layer in there. Some people call this lasagna planting because you're planting in layers. So that bottom layer there, you can see, is kind of roughly halfway up the pot, and they've all got their pointy ends facing the right way. So now we're just going to put some more compost on there. Comme cela, and then on go the second layer. These look really strong. They're shooting already, some of them, which may not be particularly good news. Good roots from last year there. But look, we leave these outside all through the winter, and if we get a hard winter, we get frost and everything else, daffodil bulbs, bless them, just seem to thrive on it, and they'll kind of slow down, and they'll kind of tuck themselves in if we get some cold weather. I don't know what I mean by tuck themselves in. I've got no proof that they do that at all, but they seem to survive cold weather in the winter, no problem. And there you go. Maybe a little bit more. Label at the back. I like to overfill slightly so that when the compost sinks down, the advantage of a big pot is I can get both layers of the bulbs fairly deep down, which is where I like them. less likely perhaps to get mice and squirrels so interested the deeper you can plant them. So we've got some early flowering, we've got kind of mid-season, and then I'm going to do another pot. Oh, let's have a look, of some later flowering varieties like we saw earlier on. That one, and I think this one here. So we should have flowers then, including the first pot in February, this guy in March, and those guys in April. We should get colour across 3 months of spring, and that one's perfumed as well, some delicious perfume. So come back in spring and see the results. Any questions, any comments? Nice ones we prefer, but we'll welcome any comments. Please do so via our comments section on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy your garden.